Per això avui, amb aquesta jornada d'esperança i també de patiment, els ciutadans de Catalunya ens hem guanyat el dret a tenir un estat independent que es constitueixi en forma de república. En conseqüència, el govern que presideixo traslladarà en els propers dies al Parlament de Catalunya, seu i expressió de la sobirania del nostre poble, els resultats de la jornada d'avui perquè actuï d'acord amb allò previst en la llei de referèndum.
Catalan Parliament will declare independence. President Puigdemont said so tonight after a dramatic day in Catalonia, in which Spanish riot police injured almost 800 people. Citizens have massively turned up at the polling stations to vote despite the repression, and the government confirmed tonight it will bring the vote results to Parliament for a potential declaration of independence. Trade unions and pro-independence parties have also called for a general strike on Tuesday to protest against Spain's crackdown of the referendum. Here at Catalan News, we've got everything about today's events. Let's start. It's been a dramatic day in Catalonia. Hours after polling stations officially closed, the Catalan president Carles Puigdemont, flanked by all his ministers, urged Europe to respond to what he described as the right of the Catalan people to become independent.
En aquest camí he de fer una apel·lació directa a Europa. Els catalans ens hem guanyat el dret a ser respectats a Europa. La Unió Europea ja no pot continuar mirant cap a un altre cantó. Som ciutadans europeus els qui patim la vulneració de drets i llibertats, violacions directes de la Carta Europea dels Drets Fonamentals. Convé que la Unió Europea reforci els valors fundacionals quan aquests estan en perill pels abusos d'un estat que es comporta de manera autoritària. Cal que actuï amb rapidesa per mantenir l'autoritat moral dins i fora del continent quan aquests abusos escandalitzen els homes i dones de bé d'arreu del món.
While politicians started on the path towards a potential declaration of independence, Catalan pro-independence organizations and trade unions have called a general strike for October 3rd, next Tuesday, to protest against the Spanish government. Ever since the day began, we saw images of violent actions at the hands of the Spanish riot police, mobilized to stop the independence vote. The latest figures of those injured are astonishing. More than 760 people across Catalonia, some even undergoing surgery. Spain's law enforcement resorted to all kinds of measures, pushing, dragging on the floor, and firing rubber bullets. They even used tear gas. And against all kinds of people, from young to old, men and women.
October 1st, 2017. This day will be remembered for many years to come in Catalonia. Maybe not as much for today's referendum, but for the unprecedented Spanish police aggression against citizens, unheard of since the 1970s. What started as a peaceful day quickly descended into chaos. In the morning, as people prepared to head to the ballots, Spanish riot police began to follow through with Madrid's orders to stop the referendum. The crackdown began in some sites just before the voting was set to start. Activists who had spent the night in polling stations in an attempt to keep them open were evicted. Riot police have been doing all they can to stop the vote. They pushed and shoved people to keep them away from the ballot boxes and dragged some protesters along the ground. They fired rubber bullets and indiscriminately beat people with batons. It has even been reported that tear gas was used against pro-referendum crowds. According to the Catalan government, 761 people have been injured during the police charges, including elderly citizens. Despite the injuries they sustained, some managed to explain what happened.
M'han tirat per les escales I mentre em tiraven, a part d'agressions, m'han agafat els dits de la mà I expressament me'ls anaven trencant.
Today's police operation has been unprecedented, not only for its forcefulness, but also because it has been so widespread. In the region of Girona, where Catalan President Puigdemont lives, the Spanish police were out in force. They raided his polling station, looking for ballot boxes and dispersing crowds that were queuing to vote. Footage of other major Catalan towns, such as Lleida, show the extent of the force used by Spanish police today.
Riot police forced their way into occupied polling stations, shoving people and in some cases dragging them along the ground. Not only in Barcelona but across the country. But in this age of social media, nothing goes unnoticed. Voters have been sharing the dramatic and violent scenes they witnessed inside and outside polling stations throughout the country. Agents raided voting stations looking for ballot boxes and pushed people away, including elderly citizens and other vulnerable groups. This aggressive behavior from the Spanish police surprised many that were protesting peacefully in the streets and found themselves attacked while trying to vote. It has been a rough day for Catalonia's police force, the Mossos d'Esquadra. The referendum on independence was declared illegal by Spain's constitutional court, and the Mossos were ordered to stop the voting. But while Spanish police resorted to violence in closing polling stations and preventing voters from casting their ballots, the Catalan police focused on keeping the peace, and in some cases even protected the public from the Spanish police officers' aggressions. Citizens praised the Catalan police's actions, and some officers even broke down out of a feeling of helplessness as Spanish police seized the ballot boxes and attacked citizens. Some judges, however, accused the Mossos of having been too passive, and they might even face contempt charges. The Spanish police repression was soon condemned by Catalan leaders. Catalan President Carles Puigdemont was forced to vote in another police station after his was taken over by riot police. He regretted the police brutality against citizens, while the mayor of Barcelona urged Spanish President Mariano Rajoy to resign.
Davant de la covardia dels qui usen la violència i els recursos de manera il·limitada de l'Estat, m'admira i m'emociona la valentia dels milers de ciutadans que estan defensant les urnes i estan defensant els col·legis electorals perquè la gent pugui participar. L'estat espanyol està demostrant que només té la força i la imposició com a arguments per intentar convèncer els catalans.
Lo primero que hago como alcaldesa de la ciudad es exigir que se pare esta actuación policial, exigir que se pare una actuación policial que vulnera todas las normas básicas democráticas, tanto las que deben guiar una actuación policial proporcionada, como en general las normas de la decencia. O sea, lo que se está haciendo hoy aquí no tiene nombre y traspasa todas las líneas rojas.
Despite all of the graphic and violent footage that's come to light today, the Spanish government denies the violent action outright, and it justified the police intervention as a defense, they said, of democracy.
La absoluta irresponsabilidad de la Generalitat ha tenido que ser suplida por la profesionalidad de las fuerzas y cuerpos de seguridad. Ellos han cumplido las órdenes de la justicia, han actuado con profesionalidad y de modo proporcional y proporcionado.
La Policía Nacional y a la Guardia Civil han cumplido con su obligación y con el mandato que tenían de la justicia, que hemos hecho lo que teníamos que hacer. Somos el Gobierno de España y yo soy el presidente del Gobierno de España y he asumido mi responsabilidad.
While the Spanish government says response to the referendum has been proportionate and according to the law, the Catalan executive has warned that Spain's raid officers acted like criminals. In fact, the Minister of Foreign Affairs suggested Spain is violating fundamental rights and therefore should be penalized by the EU.
Estem en un context en què hi ha hagut una actuació clarament de caràcter criminal. I aquest és un element que volem elevar i elevarem i estem preparant per elevar a les instàncies europees. En aquest sentit, els comunico que iniciarem els tràmits oportuns per activar els mecanismes de prevenció i de sanció previstos a l'article 7 del Tractat de la Unió Europea per denunciar l'actuació de l'Estat espanyol.
So what does the international community think? Although for years Catalonia was considered an internal affair, today officials from around the world have started voicing their concern for the events. The Prime Minister of Belgium, Charles Michel, proclaimed that violence can never be the answer, urging the start of a political dialogue. The Slovenian Prime Minister also voiced his concern and called for peaceful solutions, as did the Foreign Affairs Minister of Finland. In Brussels, the leaders of the Social Democrats, the Liberals, the Greens, and the United Left in the European Parliament condemned the violence, while the Council of Europe is going to raise the issue in a meeting next week. Meanwhile, 100 international observers were in Catalonia today to witness the referendum, so they had first-hand testimonies about the Spanish police crackdown.
I am not taking any sides. I'm not in favor or against anything, but of course I'm in favor of the democratic process itself. If the majority of Catalan people think that such a referendum has to be held, I think that idea should be supported.
This is horrible. I mean, it's horrible to use police force. It's something like we see in Turkey or in the Middle East. So it's a shame that it's also happened in Western Europe.
Well, it hasn't gone so well. I'm really worried about the attitude of the national police and national authorities when they try to deny this happening. We don't have a strong attitude if you should vote yes or no, but we have a really strong attitude that you have your right to speak and to vote.
And for me, it's been very frustrating and disappointing to see so many people who want to vote, maybe vote yes, maybe vote no, that doesn't matter, and yet they're being actively stopped, not just by taking ballot boxes and ballots away, but by shooting at people and firing plastic balls at them, and that's no way to resolve any difficulties.
While the international community voiced their concern, the Catalan people held strong and continued to show up to vote. Lining up for hours, even under the rain, voters of all ages came out to cast their ballot and defied Spanish police.
Votarem. We will vote, vowed the Catalan public, and on Sunday they did just that. Polling stations for the October 1st independence referendum opened at 9 a.m, with many very quickly and violently closed down by Spanish riot police, in which hundreds of people were injured. Yet the public defied the police batons and rubber bullets to turn out at the polling stations that remained open, with huge lines forming outside some of them. One reason for the long waiting times, over an hour in many cases, was due to people having to find an alternative place to vote after Spanish police had closed down their local polling station. Another reason was due to the fact that the Spanish authorities had cut the internet connections to polling places, meaning everything had to be done manually. While the Spanish authorities said the vote lacked any democratic respectability, many of the 5.3 million Catalan voters remained determined to cast their ballot. If they had to queue in the rain, if they had to brave police brutality, if they had to print out their ballot papers at home, nothing was going to take away this chance for them to finally have their say.
People of all ages stood against repression and showed up to vote, not only despite the rain, but in the face of possible violence and police brutality. And many of them were very emotional after they managed to finally vote. We leave you with some of these images. Thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow.
Catalunya!